Well, I just recorded all over again, said all kinds of stuff, and found out that the microphone was off. So here we go again. What up, Glam Gals? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, my name is Janelle. If you guys have checked out my other videos, welcome back, guys. My name is Janelle. If you guys haven't seen the other videos where I talk about story time and what happened to me in my life, make sure you guys check out that video. I will have a description link down in the description box so you guys can watch that from the beginning. I also do makeup tutorials on my channel. I just finished recording this look right here. So I'm going to talk today about getting diagnosed with a Pituitary Macrodenoma Tumor in 1999. So I started having irregular periods where I wouldn't have a period for like 2 months, sometimes 3 months, and then I would start. And I would have my periods for a week to 14 days to sometimes 3 weeks to a month be on my period. And I hated it. It was the worst. And I didn't know what was going on. So my doctor wanted to see what was causing my periods to do that. He checked my prolactin level, and my prolactin level was high. So he ordered a CAT scan. He checked the CAT scan, and I didn't have nothing. Nothing came out on the CAT scan. So then he wanted me to get an MRI done. Sorry guys, I had to make sure that the mic was on again, just to make sure that I wasn't recording for nothing. So he wanted me to get an MRI done. I'm claustrophobic, okay guys? I've been claustrophobic when I was young and growing up. I would freak out, like if someone was like on me and I couldn't, like, I felt like I couldn't breathe and I was suffocating. I couldn't handle that. Like when people would play like doggy pile, I hated it because I couldn't breathe and I would freak out and I would seem like I was dying. So I didn't want to have an MRI done because you go in this, it's a tube, it's a round tube, and like a little bed comes out and then it goes back in, and you're on the little bed, but your head goes in this tube and it's round and you hear all kinds of crazy noises, and I'm claustrophobic, so I'm freaking the bleep out. Like, oh my goodness, I don't want to do this, but I had to. So she talks to you, she gives you, sometimes they would give me a pill, volume, sometimes they would put the volume in my IV, and then they would put me in there, and they would talk to me though, because they knew I was claustrophobic. They would let me know like every 5 minutes how I was doing, if I was okay, how many more minutes we needed, and she would bring me back out and they would put me back in. I had headphones on and I'd be jamming to music. But still, while I was in there, I was freaking out. I was praying. I felt like, oh my gosh, this thing is gonna crush me and it's gonna kill me. And I'm like, no, I need to be alive for my daughter. So anyways, I get done. I'm done with the MRI. The doctor talks to me about my results. He said he found a Pituitary Macrodenoma Tumor, which is benign cancerous. He said that it was sized by 9 by 10 by 9 millimeters big. He said that I probably wouldn't be able to have kids or get pregnant because it was too big, and since I ovulated at different times and my periods weren't normal, that I would never know when I was ovulating, so I wouldn't get pregnant. And at that size of a tumor, that it was impossible, he told me. He said that, like, for us not even to ever try. I tried to have another baby because I didn't want my kids to grow up too far apart or be 6 years apart like me and my youngest sister were, because it was hard. She always wanted to be with us and we couldn't have her around because we were older. So I knew that I wanted a baby and I wanted them to be close together. Well, I tried to have a baby before. I never got pregnant. So I got with my ex-husband. He wanted kids. We had my daughter, but he wanted his own kids. And I told him, well, you heard the doctors, we'll never be able to, so just get that out of your mind. And he told me since then, he was like, oh, I'm going to get you pregnant. You're going to have my babies. And I'm like, whatever to that. So reading about it, because they don't know too much about the tumor. They just knew a few things about it, and they shared whatever they knew what was going on with my tumor. They told me that it was inherited or hereditary from my family, so someone had to have had it too in our bloodline. I was diagnosed with one. So it sits on my pituitary gland, which is like in my brain by like on top of your nostrils. So it was big. It was as big as a golf ball. The doctor said that if it grew any bigger, it could sit on my chiasm and make me become blind. And I was like, heck no, like, oh, that's scary, you know? They said that they can give me a pill that they would prescribe me, but it wouldn't make my tumor go away. It would dissolve my tumor, or it could dissolve my tumor, and it would be dissolved, but it could grow back. They said if I got surgery, that my tumor could grow back too. And I was like, oh, forget it. It's like a no win-win situation for me, you know? It affects your hormones. It affects your mood swings. It affects your libido. So, I produce milk still from my breasts. Not as much anymore, but I did a lot back then. It always like feels like you're still pregnant. Anyways, I know too much TMI, but I need to tell you guys so you guys know what to look out for if you guys are struggling with the same thing. So I produce more testosterone than estrogen. My hormone level is always crazy. So a lot of people that have, what is that called? Polycystic ovary syndrome. They have like the same symptoms too, but not too similar. So my tumor is 9 by 10 by 9 millimeters big. They always have to make sure that they give me an MRI every 2 years. Oh no, back then it was every one. I'd have to get an MRI once a year, and they would always have to check my fields on my eyes to make sure I wasn't becoming blind. So they would always do like tests, like how many fingers do you see coming around, coming all like this, and I would have to tell them. I would go in to the eye doctor and go get another vision field where I would have to raise my hand every time I would see the dot to make sure that my tumor wasn't growing, or it wasn't pressing on my chiasm to make me become blind. So they prescribed me this pill. I hated taking it, and I took it for like a week, and I didn't like it. It made me feel like I was kind of like pregnant or something. I don't know. I was nauseous. I didn't like the way it made me feel. So one day I was like, I'm not taking this. Like, I can't. I put it on top of the refrigerator, and I said, I'm never touching that again. And I never did. I just prayed. I prayed to God. We were raised as Christians when we were little. And I knew that God was real since I was like 9, I think. And I always used to pray to him. I would always talk to him. I would always tell him, like, you know, I always wanted to live for him all the time, like to always make him happy, up until a lot of stuff started to affect me in my life where I couldn't control the things that happened, like when my uncle molested me when I was 11 years old. But I couldn't pass my SATs because you have to pass your SATs to graduate. I couldn't for the life of me. Like social studies and science or math, I don't know, 2 of them I couldn't pass. The other 2 I was able to pass, and I was like, I wanted to graduate because I was almost there. I was almost done with going to New Futures to graduate. So I prayed to God. I was like, you know I'm stupid, but I know you're not. I know you're very smart, and if you can help me to be able to remember all this stuff and I could pass this test. And all of a sudden I passed it, and I was able to graduate from New Futures in 1996. So take a shot every time I say like and so. And you guys will be so messed up by the time we're done. You could be so plastered and on your ass by the time this video is done. Because I keep saying that. I'm trying not to, but it's so hard to not. So I prayed to God. Like, I looked a lot of symptoms up too, me and my brother. He's not my real brother. Well, he's not my brother. He's my ex-husband's uncle, but I call him brother because we're really close. So we were looking at all this, the side effects and everything that was related to pituitary macrodenoma tumor, and we found out we read that it stunts your growth, your weight it fluctuates. It said that my equilibrium was off balance, which was right. I would always be falling. Like, I would always twist my ankle and I would fall all the time. All the mother effing time. Just kidding. All the time. I was always twisting my ankle and I was falling. I almost broke my ankle a few times, but I didn't. I would just trip all the time because I was always like off balance. It's weird. I would be walking and I would go that way and I would run into the walls too. Oh, I hate it. Well, my tumor is doing okay. They keep checking it and everything, and all of a sudden a bad migraine headache where my head is pounding right here, and it's right here, and it feels like someone's hitting you with a hammer, hitting you with something, boom, 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 and it's just pounding. Like, I know what a headache feels like, but for a migraine to hit you, ooh, it's the worst. Like, oh my gosh, sometimes where your migraine is still hurting, you'll cough and it feels like your whole head's gonna fall off because it hurts so bad. It's awful. My vision, when I get a migraine, my vision gets blurry. I could see double and I could see spots and I can't even function. And then my hand will get numb and it'll travel all the way up my arm to my neck, my shoulder, and my neck, and my mouth, and my tongue, and I can't even function. I can't even talk, and when I do talk, I sound like I'm mentally ill. So I'll just shut up and I won't talk because I feel like an idiot. So I used to get bad migraine headaches when I used to work at Smith's. They didn't care. I started at Smith's in 1995 when I had my daughter. I started off as a courtesy clerk where you sack groceries for your customers, you clean the bathroom, and you walk them out to their car sometimes and push grocery carts into the store. And then I moved up. When I turned 18, I got promoted and I was working in customer service where you deal with a lot of money, Western Union, money orders, postal services. We would check out movies like Blockbuster when it was around. And we would check in and check out movies. We would deal with customers returning stuff and customer service. And then I was promoted to be a cashier. Well, when I was a cashier, I was getting those chronic migraines and I would be helping a customer, and then all of a sudden my vision would get blurry, and I was like, well, I can't accept their money or take their money or give them money. I'll be messing up because I can't even see, I can't even function. Like, what do they expect to do? And I would have to tell the manager, like, I can't work, I have a migraine, there's no way. And my till always used to be zero balance every day when I was there. So I didn't want to chance it, and they didn't really seem to care. They were like, well, just sit down and wait like 15 minutes or so and then come back and work. And I was like, that's not how it works. Like, back then I didn't know what helped migraines. So I was at work and I would get a bad migraine and it wouldn't go away. So I'd have to put myself to the emergency room and they would have to give me a steroid shot in the hip, and that would help. And that was the only thing that got migraines, and his dad. So they started taking Midrins, and the doctors prescribed them Midrins. Well, doctors don't prescribe Midrins anymore. I don't know why. but they don't. So that was my best friend for migraines. So once I started having any kind of symptoms, I would pop 2 Midrins in, and in 15 minutes it would go away. And I would have to go to a dark room and lay down and sleep because my head was pounding so hard. And I just, when you would take the Midrins, it was like tingling sensation, and you were asleep. You were out for 2 hours or so. Things that trigger migraines are lights, bright lights, flashing lights, LED lights, and that'll cause a migraine. If you don't sleep 8 hours a night, that will get you'll get a migraine. So if you get less than 8 hours of sleep, sometimes you'll get a migraine. If you eat MSGs, you'll get a migraine. If you're stressing, you'll get a migraine. What else? Lots of noise will trigger a migraine. So I'll know when I'm gonna start to get a migraine because I'll start getting irritated and aggravated by noises or stuff or certain things, and I'm agitated because I'm gonna start to get a migraine, and I'll start getting irritable with people. So I know when one's coming on. So that's what I struggled with too, as well as having a pituitary macrodenoma tumor. And they told me too, when they diagnosed me with it, they said that if I stress out a lot, that my tumor would grow even bigger. So I had to watch my stress levels a lot. So I was 110, wearing a size 0, a 00, and a 1 at the time. So I was a really thin girl. I could eat a whole large pizza all by myself and eat tacos, drink Dr. Pepper, Cokes, everything, and I would never gain weight. Like, my metabolism was good back then, you know? I went to my aunt's house one day. It was my Nana's brother's wife, and she lived in Silvieta. And one day I went to her house and I was visiting her. And I had seen a picture of her granddaughters, and they were twin girls, and they were fraternal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I bet you that is so neat and so exciting to have twins, huh? And I go, I wish I would have twins, and that would be so neat to have some twins, huh? And I left, and I never thought anything about it.